Slow session, tired session. Conrad, I fucking hate you.
No need to recap. Last week was a disaster. Everybody survived.
We're alive.
We started the combat with the Aboleth.
And then we ended the combat with the Avalanche.
It hurt.
Yeah.
Kane, you were getting grappled by a water weir the entire time.
Kane couldn't make athletics checks.
The problem wasn't not making athletics checks, it's that it took an action to make the athletics check, and then you tried to swim out of range, and that prompted an opportunity attack,
Right,
and
it
the attack
auto-did it.
grappled again.
Yeah,
Yes.
Kane couldn't AC, I should say.
They're built for terrible things,
Yeah.
as was discovered. Yeah, they just rolled really well.
Yep.
The dice were terrible.
Anyways, we bumble our way through that bullshit.
DM
We
learned
got
some lessons.
Everyone learned some lessons. After a while, we finally get the last shot on the Aboleth. Clear everything out. There's about 3 cultists who are still committed and probably didn't need the magical charming to get them going there. But for the rest of them, they quickly find their senses about them and go, what happened? Well, where was I? Last thing I remember was being on a boat and sailing out too far, like all the people warned me not to. And yeah, proceeded to get a lot of loot.
Oh yeah.
And I'm gonna turn the music down real quick. It's just a bit loud.
Oh, sure. I can turn it down just
No,
a little
I
bit
did
on
it.
my end
I
as
did it
well.
myself, but
Okay.
either way. And that was a bit too much actually. And we proceeded to bring them back to their friends and family, at least the ones that lived nearby. Some of the others were more travelers and such. We returned, things like a helm of telepathy and various potions and potioning regents in tow.
Helm of Comprehend Languages, just to make sure we don't forget that.
Right,
or-
yeah, no,
Yeah.
you are absolutely right on that. That's me not remembering.
That's fine.
And I believe after that, it was mainly we had like a feast, like a thank you from the nearby village of vanquishing the great evil in the middle of the lake. I'm sure the fishing business will be booming now. I think that was most it.
That was the entire session. So, following that, it is the about the 17th day of the month of Glorious. Summer solstice is in a week and a half. In a little less than 2 weeks, it is the full moon and time for a shrine. So, having that much time at your disposal, you guys can divvy up your loot. Kane is requesting he gets the weaker of the 2 potions. Of note, if you're talking about the healing potions, you had 2 potions of regular healing, 1 of greater and 1 of supreme. Alright, he's asking for the greater healing potion.
Alright. Let me see the party loot. Yeah, we had 1 greater, 1 supreme. 7 minor heals. Yeah, you could probably take the greater then. I would say Cultum maybe have the supreme. More health for it.
That's fair.
It saves your spells if you're healing yourself compared to Lay on Hands, which can bring other people back up.
Yeah, and I do become a damage sponge at some points.
Also, you can bonus it on yourself.
Yeah.
So,
Action, others, or just action, lay on hands, and then I can take a potion myself, so it can be double healing and whatever.
okay, so should I wipe those 2 off the list?
We had supreme right now. There we go. Let me
Alright.
just...
Well, while I'm in here, we have the sending stones. Who's getting them? I would maybe recommend Alsana because she's more mobile.
She's recon, so yeah, definitely her and then someone else.
Probably Alaris because he can see far. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, 'cause you can see, and then it's just like double eyes is, I'll add it to Lars' sheet.
I'll just mark it off who has it.
That's appreciated.
The Quall's Feathered Token for the tree. Sana? Kind of up her alley. Pretty sure you'd, like, throw it in the ground and it just evaporates a tree, right?
Summon
More or
tree?
Let me go ahead and pull it open, and yes, funnily enough, summon tree as was being talked about 2 seconds. You must be outdoors to use this token. You can use an action to touch it to an unoccupied space on the ground. The token disappears, and in its place, a non-magical oak tree springs into existence. The tree is 60 feet tall and has a 5-foot diameter trunk, and its branches at the top spread out in a 20-foot radius.
Yeah, I'll take that one.
Yes.
And Beat of Force. Maybe Laris? Or should we just keep it in the bag for now?
What's the beat of force do again? Is that like a thunder wave sort of thing, or is that like
Do you remember the Mirror Knight in our Vampires campaign?
That's why I'm asking, because I know. 'Cause
That
I
was
don't.
That was the beat of force. It pretty much you throw it. I can look up the exact wording, but you throw it at something or someone at an area.
Instant hamster ball.
Oh,
Yep.
It's the hamster ball.
Yes, and it does
Okay.
some force damage if it forces anybody out of the way, I believe.
Yep.
Okay, the hamster ball.
Yeah. You throw it up to 60 feet, explodes on impact, it is destroyed, so it's a single use. 10-foot radius of where the bead landed. Each creature there has to succeed on a DC 15 dexterity save or take 5d4 force damage. A sphere of transparent force then encloses the area for 1 minute. Any creature that failed the save and is completely within the area is trapped within this sphere.
Okay.
Creatures that succeeded on the save or are partially within the area are pushed away from the center until they're no longer inside it. And, hamster ball, they can push against the sphere's wall, move the sphere up to half the creature's walking speed, and it can be picked up, and its magic causes it to weigh only 1 pound regardless of the weight of the creatures inside.
Yeah. Kane or Elias then?
If it matters, it doesn't take anything like a roll to aim it. You just throw it at a point within 60 feet, and it succeeds.
Yeah, you just fucking throw that bitch. I remember that.
So, okay. Kane is voting, give it to Alaris.
Alright.
Gotcha, I'll add her too.
Spell scroll for aid. That's for Calda, right?
Aid, I believe, is a paladin spell, so she would be the only one able to cast it.
It is, okay.
Yep.
I'll
So
check that's only paladin, I think.
I deliberately chose it. I'm pretty sure that I picked something that was on paladin list and not on druid.
Yep, cleric paladin. You're right.
Yeah, and I know it's not warlock.
It's like one of those healer boy spells.
So pretty much you have a freebie spell that's not going to take a spell slot up.
So you got that in your sheet, Calda?
Yep.
Alright. And Beat of Forces on Alaris.
Yes.
Helmet of Comprehend Languages.
Sana has the spell that's a once per day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe keep it on her person?
Yeah, she can...
That could also just be a general...
Yeah, let's keep it in the bag. I think it's attunement.
It is actually not.
It's not?
Oh,
No. While
Okay.
wearing this helmet, you can use an action to cast the Comprehend Languages spell from it at will. There is no limit on that. It is not attunement. However, I would say that you do have to be, only it says while wearing this helm, so only one person can benefit from it at a time.
Frustrating.
it's okay, but it's like we go in somewhere, oh fuck, they can't speak common or other languages, let's put our thinking caps on.
Yep. Glad I used my level up on that.
Well, it's like then 2 people can use it at that point. Which
I
could
mean,
be-
effectively.
It could be helpful in charismatic situations.
We'll see. Alright, keep it in the bag. Over the time, can we have sold some of the things we got?
Yeah, you've got a couple of weeks. You are easily within reach of Soren. You could travel to Windsor if you'd like, and then back down into the forest.
Because I'm thinking on the canvases we have, the cut canvases.
Mhm.
Let's see. So I'll use an Larson Calda. I mean, is there a chance, or are we just gonna exchange the value for gold?
I'll allow some persuasion rolls if you'd like to see if you can get a little bit better than cost.
Do it.
Or potentially a little bit worse, depending on how things go. That is your risk to take.
A Larson Calda is one of them helping the other for advantage?
Yeah, because we both have proficiency.
I'd allow that.
Okay, I'm gonna turn advantage on one of the sheets. I think I turned it on the wrong one because now it's running slowly. Alright, there we go. Here's one persuasion.
First, which thing are you selling?
The canvases? Sorry.
Yeah, the
let's
two
see,
canvas
got-
cutouts for 25 gold pieces each, and the one masterpiece canvas for 150 gold pieces.
All right. There they are. Masterpiece. There we go. Yeah, with that persuasion roll, let's see.
So it would have been 200
Where-
gold pieces total for the two?
Yep.
Three?
Out of curiosity, would you be selling this in Soren or would you be selling it in Windsor?
Calder may suggest Windsor just because of how she remembers it was like sort of
Yeah, Windsor would probably be the better one.
more aesthetic-y. So like they'd find some connoisseur of like really cool canvases that are
Also, Alana wants to stop by Morticia's, so.
Yes. So you go for Windsor, which was a wise call, it seems, as you manage to find that enthusiast, that connoisseur, who looks over these canvases, and while he kind of fingers the edge and tuts a little bit over the raggedness of it, and the fact that it's not in a protective frame, you guys do manage to spin the tale of, or at least a tale of how you came across it, and the potential history of it is as almost as interesting as the work he's looking at. And once he does a thorough inspection, he seems to spot something at like the bottom of the masterpiece canvas in particular, and you see this little light in his eyes. And in the end, you get for each thing twice the assumed value of it. So altogether, 500 gold.
500, it'd be 150, then 225, so that'd be 200. So double to 400?
No, yeah. I did miscalculate that. Say 500 because of the interest he showed in the masterpiece canvas.
Alright.
Let's just keep it rounded up. Why not?
And that goes to. We're currently at 14,200 gold pieces.
nice. And we have a lot of jewels.
Oh yeah, and we have the jewels and the platinum pieces and the gems. Although honestly, like keeping some of the jewels on us for like solid finances isn't terrible. I'm sure we can sell them at a point if we need something, but at the same time, gems or gold doesn't really make much difference.
It's like the work in the market.
We could also potentially trade with people who don't usually use gold as a proper currency. If we come across like troglodytes or something, I don't know.
It's like we have gold, but we also have rubies, and they're like, ooh, rubies.
We don't know for sure the exact money system in the mirror world, so.
Okay, maybe Mirror World does like opposite, so copper's worth more.
Oh, that'd be funny. Inflation all around. Also, if we do anything in the Feywild, which I was considering.
That's fair. They can do like trading and bartering.
I'm sure they'd like pretty pieces of gems first.
It's just like, ooh, shiny gems, because they probably may not use gold to bounce. Feywild's fucky, man.
Gems are hard monetary value given spells, so
Exactly. If you can do magic with them, then, like, look at that. Because I know Called has the Revivify gems on her sheet.
hold on. What is? I'm reading some of the other random crap we have.
That's fair.
Oh, it's from the Cloud Giant Castle.
We have a lot. Oh my god.
Oh yeah, okay. I wasn't even looking at that shit.
Like a lot of money.
You guys have built up quite a hoard yourselves.
A little bit, yeah.
We, like, the silk robe with gold embroidery can sell, like, if we keep bartering.
Humanoid silk robe with gold embroidery. I mean, we could also keep it.
That'd also be really fun to wear.
What color is the silk?
You know what? I don't think I ever specified. Let me see.
Black,
We
black,
all know
black,
what
black.
we all know what Devin's hoping for.
Hold on. I'm gonna go ahead and make a list, and then I'm gonna have a die rolled at random. I just need to
Roll
assign
on, like, the
numbers
chromatic
first.
dragon
Hold
table.
on.
Well, it could be like a metallic
Uh,
like
yeah.
silver silk gold embroidery.
I'll take purple, but black. Big money, no whammies.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Are there any more colors I should add? Nah, let's go with this. Roll a d8.
I'll do it. 1.
It's red.
Nah.
Ooh.
Oh, it's like the gaudy, like
Like how red?
like rich guy. Oh my god.
Um,
Is it red velvet?
roll-
Like Playboy sort of red.
It's silk. Tell you what, roll a d4 for intensity. 1 is more intense, 4 is going to be a lot more like darker burgundy.
Please,
Call it a
please.
sliding scale.
3.
Okay, so it's not quite it's not the darkest red that there could be, but there is a certain darkness to it. It's not that gaudy, rich, vibrant red.
Like a mahogany.
A little bit.
Mahogany.
It slides a bit more towards the burgundy end of the scale.
Maroon.
Go
Couple
with
of
it.
us are just like probably staring and just going, "This is really nice."
Like they're just going through their stuff, and then like the two of them are just like feeling. It's like, ooh, nice silk.
But it's like they found this stuff from before, and they're feeling a bit more in the bag, and they're like, "Ooh, nice silk, nice silk."
Could Alsana, if they're around Winds of Thor, do some research with that large fine tapestry depicting a stylized silver mask figure accusing a throne figure?
Sure. That would probably be it's kind of art history. Call it a history check.
All right.
Go ahead and do guidance as usual. I'm imagining you're doing plenty of that while researching.
Any bonus with her? No, never mind. I was thinking of something else. History. 14.
All right. The DC was actually somewhat low because of where Alsana has been in her backstory.
All
So
right.
you do actually make it. It reminds you of this this story you've heard down in Galgaea, in Veravale, of this this figure once upon a time years ago, who became the leader of Galgaea. And you know that the traditional leaders of Galgaea are known as I remind myself the exact term, I think it's something like a truth keeper.
All right.
Let me go ahead and double check that in my own stuff, because I don't want to say the thing and then turn this out that it's like Truth Seeker or something. Let's see, let's see, let's see.
Right, Galgea over by like Verivel and that.
Veravale being the capital of Galgea.
Alright.
Basically, the Greenwater Wood borders it, and you spent some time there. There it is. Truth Keeper of Galgea. And it is a high and prestigious position. And as with the culture and expectations, it's supposed to be one of great honor and honesty above all things. But there came a time when somebody came to it by dishonest means and was dishonest while she held it. But she was finally exposed and removed from that position, not quite a throne. When somebody came from outside of Galgea and made everything known.
Is there names on that attached?
You know that the Truth Keeper was named Taniel the Deceitful, a epithet tacked on after the discovery, of course. The person who came was a stranger with no recorded name in history. But they're often depicted wearing some form of mask or hood or face covering, perhaps symbolic of this lost identity. At least that's the most common interpretation of various paintings, tapestries, plays at times, works of art.
Mask, huh?
Devin's got the thoughts.
I mean, what's the main thing we've seen with masks thus far?
You know.
I guess of note, she ruled many centuries ago. Taniel did, somewhere around the start of the Second Era.
The start of the Second Era.
You guys are currently at the end of the Third.
Right. So the start where things could have been, doors could have been open for beforehand.
Just like spring it open. So like.
Alright, Gladdy, we got some extra questions for you.
Breaking down his door twice in like a month?
Yep. We'll have to remember that. Maybe we should keep this until we get to Galgea. Could probably get a better price for it.
Maybe anything that has maybe some historical value we don't sell yet. Like the animals don't have historical value, maybe. Right? And there's the hippogriff, but that just looks cool.
What are these boots that give a hum of magic? Small burst movement speed.
Those were given to Calda.
Okay.
They're striding and springing, so they are no longer in party loot.
Okay.
So, same with the strap-on goggles, because those are Alaris's.
I'll get rid of those. And the sickle, because that's Alsana's.
Do we really take the time to drag the rugs into, like, probably the bag of holding?
Yes.
We could get those appraised in Windsor.
Wait, which one?
The
For rugs and huge tapestries, gold, silver, copper, gem inlays.
These are hard to move.
They're tapestries. Are they depicting anything in particular?
Mostly just various tapestries of animals, magical or mundane, of figures that are probably giants but might be humanoids. Kind of hard to tell with the scale. Um, it's kind of the idea of various historical tapestries you would see. With the flowers, fields. It's nothing else with the kind of historical significance of the one that I described.
Okay. Okay.
It's the equivalent of like there's a tapestry of a unicorn in a field.
All right.
It's nice, but decorative.
Mhm. Okay. Yeah. Can we get those appraised then?
Sure. Let's see. Are you just picking out a shop that looks likely and going in there, or are you looking for anybody or anything in particular for appraisals?
For rugs, Alsana might stop by Morticia's.
Yeah, you could ask her, or if she knows someone, because she's, that.
Yeah.
the
It'd be the
local
lineup. Yep. She could at least point us for the tapestries. Could we have asked in the same place we sweet talked the guy for the canvases?
You know what? Sure. You guys probably sorted through this before you actually started
Yep,
going around. So
probably.
we're just doing this out of order.
Yep. Shopping episode.
Yep. All right. So you're gonna go ahead and have him appraise the tapestries. Let's go ahead and let's have somebody roll a D100.
Ooh, I'll get that.
Yeah, Ty, go for it. Get another fucking 100.
Oh, so close! Almost
60.
nice! Shut up, Conrad.
Stop.
All right. But the appraisal is made. The worth of the materials made to use them is undeniable. They do not quite have the same artistic significance of some of the canvas, that one canvas in particular.
Right.
It seems, but you could get a pretty good price for the lot. I did not give you a number for how many there were, so we're just kind of gonna go with about that as a percentage.
They're also huge, right?
Oh yeah, they're pretty big.
So any inlaid stuff would be a lot of gold / silver / copper / gems.
Mm-hmm. He looks it over and suggests that he might be able to find a buyer for them, though the size is a bit awkward, and so it is a risk, and he's kind of playing that up a bit.
Alsana goes ahead and taps Calda on the shoulder with guidance.
Well, maybe someone, because of how beautiful they are, can make it into a beautiful room of a tapestry of a large wall, really show how rich they are. Don't you think?
Yes.
Go ahead and...
Would you agree, Alaris?
Yeah. Alaris agrees.
Yes, I do.
Go ahead and roll that persuasion, advantage, and guidance.
Yes, worth much money. I am dad.
Yes, worth money. My son, child agrees. Yes. Okay.
Wife would like.
Oh, here we go again. Yes, guidance. 30 bloody 2.
Isn't it feel nice? This is what Alsana feels like. Ty, I hope you enjoy it.
I know. That's why Xenia has guns.
All right.
I've ruined guidance for everyone.
That was Harkness, buddy.
Yep.
But Harkness uses it just to bump up the perception.
Yeah, Xenia uses it for everything else. Let's fucking go, 32.
He offers a lump sum, very, very convinced, a lump sum for all of the tapestries, the enormous, finely worked pieces that you pulled from that giant's castle, of 5,000 gold.
Humna, 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 humna.
Calda has to just compose herself.
Deal.
Yeah, deal, all good.
And at that point, he would ask if you have anything more to offer.
What about the hippogriff?
Are you much in the way of ivory, my friend?
I don't work so much in the trade of sculpture or carved goods,
Could you perhaps point us in the one who would be more adept at it?
but I'm always willing to make exceptions. You've brought me some very interesting pieces. So if you'd like to show,
All right. I'll
I
introduce
will
the
consider.
ivory statuette of the hippogriff for 250 gold pieces. Vaguely.
Mhm.
Vaguely.
We do the animal figurines.
Turquoise. The turquoise ones?
Yeah.
We're pretty sure that. Oh, that's 10 figures.
The 250 is for the entire set.
Okay. Okay. I was scared for a second.
They are pretty much the equivalent of 25 gold each.
All right.
You can sell them one at a time. You can do the full set.
Yep, also, I'll produce those two.
All right. He will look them over, and I'm just going to ride off the fact that you have you've like 28 to 32.
He's convinced we're like art historians.
Mhm.
Little scuffed up,
Um,
but art historians.
He said he's starting to run a little low on funds, perhaps, but
This
he's
will be the
fairly
last, don't
certain,
worry.
fairly certain he can get good buyers for a couple of these. Between the hippogriff and the animal figurines, he doesn't double the entirety of it, but he offers 750 gold.
All right.
Suppose that's fair.
Very, very much. Off that goes, and
Polaris agrees from the corner.
off that goes, and reduce that to a lot of rug furs. Oh, I canceled it. Damn it.
You're doing your best.
It's okay. Don't forget to take the canvas cutouts and the masterpiece canvas off. I see they're still on there.
Yep. Those were. Shit, I just had them.
They're at the bottom.
No. I fucking hit cancel like an idiot. I'm trying. I lost where it was. How much was the thing before the tapestries? How much did we get for that?
The rugs and all that stuff, like
Yeah.
the lots, 5,000.
5,000. Right. Okay. Yes. So that brings us up to that, and that brings us up to 750. So that'd be 950. Okay, back to where we were. Save changes real quick, so I have the money amount, and then get rid of the masterpiece canvas cutouts, huge tapestries, and ivory statuette, and turquoise animal figures. Save changes. There we go.
Ta-da!
Okay, we will happily take our big bag of money.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
And Alsana will then head over to Morticia's.
All right then.
Paul's gonna follow. She needs to do some shopping, but Alsana has better eyes in searching stuff.
Okay. You know what? It's been a while. We're back in Windsor. Does anybody want to roll on the city encounter chart I made a
Yes.
long time ago?
Yes.
I'll throw
Anybody
it in
who'd
too.
like?
I can fit-
D100.
I get the feeling like Calda and Alsana have like a day out right now.
Yeah, Kane and Alaris are there. Kane can absolutely roll. I'll say that you probably took those people to a jail at Soren as a quick pit stop before Windsor because it was just closer and easier to transport them that distance instead.
Nice!
There it is. There you go.
I'm really sorry.
All
But
right.
you're not.
I really am. I apologize.
Calda, as you guys are heading out of this, basically the workshop, the appraisal area of this high-end merchant of fine arts and goods, your attention is caught by the the sound of a small child nearby, sounding a little distressed, and every motherly instinct in you just locks onto this sound, and your head whips around, and you see a little kid, small dragonborn, holding their hands up towards a roof above their head, and kind of calling out, come back, don't stop, you're gonna hurt yourself, don't, come down. You look up at the roof, and you see this tiny fuzzball of a kitten.
Oh, Cola's gonna run up, and she's gonna be like at the kid. She's be like, hey, what's wrong?
A kitty! He climbed, I couldn't stop him.
Oh, okay, how's, like, the scaffolding on the side of the building?
It's not really scaffolding, but the roof, the building kind of has that style of, I cannot recall the architectural name, but do you know the style of siding where you have the beams of wood at the corner and they kind of cross the front of the house at angles and verticals? And in between the beams, there's that almost that plaster.
Yes.
Yep,
Vaguely
it
know.
looks.
Can I
Hmm.
climb it?
Basically, it
Alsana
looks like the
walks
cat
up.
might have got up the wood.
Alsana
Yes.
walks over. Don't worry, dear. Witches are great with cats. And she floats up.
Okay.
Pulls out the broom, little bat wings. Climbs up. You float up there. The little cat sees you, and kind of puffs up into a bigger ball, and does a little.
Don't worry, dear. It's okay. Oh, you're a cute one. What color is it?
It's a little cream and orange tabby.
Oh. Alsana taps cats on herself and tries to be friendly towards the kitty.
Animal handling.
Alright.
Out of 20. Yep. You know your way around cats.
No.
Yep. You managed to soothe the little kitten, and the little
Puts her
kitten.
hands out for it to hop on.
The kitten finally calms down, sniffs at your fingers, and very carefully climbs up onto your hand. And it is just a handful of fluff. It is not much bigger than your outstretched palm. You carry it back down to ground level where the little dragonborn child holds out both their arms.
Alsana kind of like bends down and holds it out, and it's like, one cat safely delivered.
Thank you!
What is her name?
Cuddles the cat close. Her name's Fuzzy.
Oh. Well, Fuzzy was very good. Just make sure you keep an eye on her a bit more, alright?
I will. Thank you.
And she's going to, real quick, do it as a spell. Speak with animals. And she goes, now Fuzzy, you be extra good. This your owner right here loves you very much and was very concerned about you.
You get the most bewildered look back, and you hear a tiny little at that point, as the little child wipes the last tears away and turns and starts to run off, Alsana, you feel a little tug on the side of your skirt, your robes, just below the belt. You turn and look, and you see another small child. This one looks let's say human.
All right.
And he says, "I saw you get the cat down. We were playing over there, and we threw our ball too high." He points just down the street, a little in the alleyway. Go ahead and make a quick perception check, just to.
Right. Mouse. There you are. Perception.
29.
Oh yes, I saw it
You
on the way here.
Yep, you see the ball very clearly in the gutter. You see a stack of crates that could be used to climb up if you didn't have a broom, and you also feel that that little tug on the belt slipped into the coin pouch there.
Hmm. And she'll just kind of lean down and go, "Oh, well, that's unfortunate that your ball got over there, but the regular begging is just a easier trade, you know?" And she kind of like puts a hand on the kid's shoulder.
Kid looks shocked for an instant, then, I don't know what you're talking about, I just need my ball back.
How much did you take? I might be willing to give it to you, alright, dear?
You see his hand is kind of cupped a little unnaturally, and he's trying to slip it into a pocket. Didn't take anything.
Back right pocket. Hand slowly moving.
And in an instant, he looks defeated, holds his hand back out.
Don't underestimate a witch, dear.
You're gonna turn me into a frog.
Well, I'd be lying if I said I didn't think about it. But no, those are only what mean witches do. I'm much better than that.
Okay.
She puts her hand out.
He drops into it just a little bit of loose change. It seems he didn't sneak out much with his little hand. A gold, 5 silver, couple copper pieces.
She kind of like rolls it in her hand and goes, "That's no fun. It'll jangle around. Other people will know." And she kind of like puts it into her back, pulls out a platinum. Kind of spins it between her fingers. Now, do you actually need that ball, or is that just a talking point to distract me? Because I'll get it for you.
No. Ricky's a good climber.
Well, I'd be worried if you got yourself hurt.
You see him put a little finger in his mouth and make the whistle. And another small gnomish child scurries out from behind the crates, clambers up them quickly, snags the ball from the gutter, and jumps back down.
Oh, look at that. Was the little dragon kid here on this too? Just for a 1-2 punch, or is that just circumstance?
Nah, we saw you get the cat and thought, you know, you do it for one person, do it for another kid.
Crafty little thing, aren't you?
Yeah,
Well,
try.
for your efforts, and she kind of like spins the platinum she has in her fingers for a second, then flicks it over to him.
Yep, you see his eyes following it the entire time, but he seems surprised when you flick it towards him, and he fumbles it before catching it. What's this, a silver?
A bit more than that, dear. Ever heard of a
This for me?
platinum piece?
Really? Uh-uh.
It's worth 10 gold.
His eyes go really big. Nuh-uh.
Mm-hmm.
He looks down at the piece, looks at you, and abruptly wheels around and bolts like he thinks that you're going to change your mind.
She kind of just calls after, "Be careful with it. Invest in a more sustainable income."
And with that, he is down the alley and gone.
What about the other one?
He is gone too. He took off ahead of this one as you were given this kid the platinum.
Also, I kind of like gets up from kind of kneeling down, and goes, "Oh, well, that was a fun little side road."
Yeah, was, yeah. I'm gonna go find your brother. I wonder what he's up to.
Kane, you have, in the meantime, sort of
Invested in the
discovered...
stock market.
You have discovered a small street stall nearby, selling Lou's Lucky Charms. These are like little, basically little charms, bracelets, necklaces, pendants, things that can be hung from the ceiling of buildings or rooms, made of bits of scrap copper, brass string, beads, feathers,
This is so much jam.
various knotted designs. Some things are maybe slipped into a pocket, others are a bit larger, and again, more intended for hanging from a ceiling or on a wall. Every single piece seems to be unique and handmade. any array of colors or materials could likely be found in the just nets of objects hanging from the top of the stall, spread out on the table. And behind it all, kind of seated on a high stool overlooking it, is a kind of small, kind of round halfling man.
Perfect. Does he find Calda?
Yeah, you can find Calda.
Okay, because his first thought was Lucky Charms. I know a lucky person.
Just follow your nose.
Yeah, basically. He's gonna turn to Calda and go like, I need your help.
Why?
Okay, so last fight didn't go great for me. I need you to help me sense whatever the luckiest charm they have is. You're a halfling, you can do that, right?
Carl's gonna like nod along. What can you speak again, Kane? You speak common. Can you? Do you know halfling?
He shakes his head.
Alright, Carl's gonna go up to the guy at the front.
Alright.
I know common and I know orcish.
And just in halfling start talking to him. She's like, so, my friend over here's been a little, down in the dumps. I've been hanging around him for a few months. He's an amazing guy, but really got stuck in a stroke of luck on our last little outing, so try and humor him, try and find him the luckiest thing, but just... Do you have a luckiest thing? I don't... It's just natural for you too, right?
I consider all of them lucky.
Alrighty. What's like one of them that like has... Calda's very into like the leather. Her husband's a leather worker. Is there one that has just like really nice leathers just around it, sort of like braided or just adorning a piece of like a charm?
Yeah. You come across one that's pretty much a braided leather strap. Perhaps it could be made into a bracelet if you added a tie onto the ends. But otherwise could be slipped into a pocket or tied to a belt, perhaps. And kind of tied into the braid of the leather are, let's say, about four wooden beads.
Ooh. Cal's gonna like grab Kane, just like, hey, this one. I really think this one's a little lucky. A little luckier than the rest.
He kind of turns to the like, words are hard, guys. He takes the leather into his hand, kind of like feels it to see how strong it is. Is it relatively tough?
Relatively. It's meant more for decorative purposes. You're more used to things like armor, functional wear, things like that. So it's got a bit more supple give to it than many of those leather goods that you would otherwise be accustomed to.
Okay,
that being said, it's not brittle or anything.
Okay. I imagine the elasticity is good for not tearing in that case.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of like, does it fit onto his wrist?
It would probably be a bit short, but again, you would need to add some ties to it, so it could be lengthened with them.
Okay. He kind of like turns to it, like tries to like put it on his wrist and goes, it's kind of small. I think there's another piece that we could add them together, make them twice as lucky. Or is that lucky? Is that lucky squared?
If need be, I can always just add another strap to the side and buckle them together.
Oh, but that won't ruin the luck, will it?
Oh no.
At a moment, Kalsan will like kind of come across this spot too.
Sure.
No, this is for purity's sake. Get out of here, Alsan, don't ruin it.
She floats around in the background.
You see them hovering in front of a stall like 10 feet away with Lou's Lucky Charms painted on the banner above it.
She instantly knows what's going on here.
Just like cutting.
She's got that like that high tensile strength, like not hard, like not large smile, but like just a bit above the like neutral mouth, but very like condensed.
Can and will point to the greatsword and glaive on her back.
She's just like, I wouldn't say a thing, just
Just points
Enjoying
to
the
points
show.
to Alsana, thumb across neck. Shh.
Yeah.
She's saying this just to call to the side.
Of course.
Calda's like beside Kane, so she can't really move. Just like the face journeys.
In the
As I know,
meantime,
Kane
Lou is
handling- oh, good.
Lou is pulling out some further bits and bobs from beneath his table and not fully attaching them, but kind of measuring, pinching with his finger and thumb to hold bits of leather on either end of this strap and kind of measuring around your wrist and going, yeah, there's a pretty simple adjustment. It won't take me long if you'd like to go ahead and purchase.
Oh, for sure. And Kane's like handling everything, by the way, with the utmost delicacy.
Calda's trying to like slip like a couple gold into his bag.
If you're trying to do it unnoticed by Kane, go ahead and do a sleight of hand.
Yep, let's try the beat.
I think
Kane,
it
you
might be just
notice.
Perception. Hold on.
Unless you'd like to roll perception.
Oh no, I've got better perception than I thought, but let's roll.
Just barely.
Kane, you do kind of you shift at just the wrong moment, and the coins clink, and Calda fumbles one.
Kind of just gives it, like, looks at her, looks at the coins.
Calda stares Kane in the eye, and she's bent down to pick up the coin she dropped and slips it in his bag.
Just kind of nods, and as she turns his face the other way, tries to slip a platinum into her bag.
Sleight of hand and perception.
Fuck you.
Aw. I tried.
Kane, you are unsuccessful as Calda
He,
was
he
perhaps
looks her dead
expecting.
in the eye and does the exact same thing that she did.
Meanwhile, Lou is kind of concentrating on making the adjustments needed. He's pulled out some waxed thread and a long needle. Calda, this would be tools that you would recognize.
Also, Sana's just watching this whole thing and just kind of just with this like again low grin on her face.
Calda like just keeps chatting Lou up and just be like, so what leathers do you kind of use? What materials? I know I saw some from a vendor over there. Do you sell from him or do you get outsourced? Do you know from Umbarian leatherworkers? Do you still stay in Windsor?
Oh, I take up whatever feels right. You know, you have to trust your gut on these things.
Exactly. Sometimes like my husband makes the armor and he makes the boots and it's so nice, but sometimes you
Your husband's an armorer.
Yeah, in Umbarian he does a lot of the armoring and sometimes he made my old boots. I'm wearing new boots. He made my gauntlets, but he's very impressive and he usually stays within Umbarian, but sometimes outsources, and I've seen Windsor leathers that are so beautiful on just some nice breast pieces and they're amazing.
It's really nice to hear. I've got some friends that work leather. In fact, I've got friends in lots of industries. They let me look through things that they collect, things that they have left over. I get a feel for what is going to work for this, and often enough, they'll sell me their bits and bobs. And if anything has the right kind of feel and energy to it, I'll take it up and weave it together. I do things for the love of it.
That's fair. These are very beautiful. But do you have any
Well, thank you.
who are the magic-y type? I'm looking for. I want to see dark.
Magic's a bit above my head, but there's always the crystalline spires.
Oh,
Oh yeah, big magic school. Lots of the bardy folk go through, but we get a few others from what I hear. Pretty much half the bards on the streets are either students there, recent graduates, or at the very least alumni.
Calde's gonna switch to halfling for this. And she's like, oh yeah, I just really want to make sure this one bard isn't here, and Calde's gonna like just quietly try and say Kane and Alsana's dad's name because she doesn't want to run into him.
That absolutely
gonna be
doesn't
perception check.
translate at all in halfling.
No, whatever. Fuck. Calder will spell it out
Hold
with
on, hold on,
halfling letters.
hold on. What do you mean the name doesn't translate in halfling? It's a name.
That's what I mean.
Calder's spelling it out in halfling letters.
It would be the equivalent if she'd actually said the name of halfling, Roy Kirkland, halfling.
That's exactly what I mean. Like, what are you
That's what
trying
I
here?
want. I'm just trying to spell it out in like the lettering.
Yes. So you could pretty much do that. The alphabet is going to use different words for different letters. However, Lou's face furrows a little bit as he nods along and goes, Roy Kirkland.
Fuck.
Sort of turns.
Hold on. I think that's at least a perception check because you're like across the place.
Calder's gonna like
No, Asana's right there. She's just floating like just by it. She was talking to Calda.
Oh, okay. I thought she wasn't near enough.
Yeah, call the switching back to come. Just like, I don't want to run into him. He's been a dick before, and okay, maybe deception. Tried to cheap out my fucking husband.
Can't say I've ever heard of him.
Okay.
Yeah, we got all sorts. Can't possibly keep track of all of them.
That's good. Thank you.
Would you like me to keep an ear out, though, for you?
Yes, please do.
Oh, Sana. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, you're traveling together, then?
Yes, while I'm here as well, do you have much in the way of beads, just on their own?
I've got a few little choice selections. One moment here.
She kind of like pulls down her hood and all the beads in her hair rattle.
Ah. Connoisseur. Right. Let me go ahead and finish this up, and I'll be right
Take
with
your
you.
time, absolutely.
Yep. He works fairly quickly for all that leather is a pretty tough material. And when he finishes, he knots off another little X-cross of threads and snips the excess, puts the needle away, and holds out what is now a slightly longer bracelet, a couple of tails of thinner leather hanging off the sides that tied into a knot at the underside of a wrist. While he lays that on the table, he reaches underneath, grabs a small bag and a tray, sets the tray down on the table, nudging a few charms aside, and tips the bag into, yep, there is some typing, into the lined exterior of this shallow wooden dish. And outspill a fair number of beads of various makes and kinds and materials, sizes and colors. There is such a variety that, is there anything in particular that Alsana would be looking for, or anything general even?
As she's going to glance, she like wipes a bit of like saliva off the corner of her mouth. Just kind of looking down and just, I suppose, are there any, if there's any that's like, I guess, non-standard materials?
Most of them are going to be of simple things like wood and clay. But he does point out, and I got these from one of my glass-blowing friends. If you see, the colors didn't quite come out the way that he wanted for this particular customer, but I really liked the way that they shifted, and he's kind of picking up and tilting a bead, and you see that the color has a bit of a gradient from one side of the bead to the other. That might be taken as an impurity, but it does look kind of cool in its own right. He says also, and a friend of mine was trying to chisel some beads from stone. Most of them cracked, and he kind of gave it up as a lost cause, at least with this particular type of stone, but these held whole, and actually the cracks on this one didn't go all the way through, so it kind of makes a bit of a lightning pattern if you kind of look at it at this angle.
Like,
I figure a lightning
goes for that one.
Lucky.
And she goes, yeah, lightning doesn't strike too often, I guess.
Yep. It is kind of a dark gray stone. It's got a little bit of a grainy surface texture. It's not perfectly smoothed, little rough, but the cracks running up it are darker in color. The bead itself seems solid.
She'll kind of go, I'll go with these two for now, and the kind of the imperfect glass and the lightning stone. How much are you looking for them?
Not much. Probably sell them for like a copper a piece.
Let's call it a silver, shall we?
Really? Huh. Honestly, I was gonna sell the bracelet for a silver. So, yeah, throw it all together. 1 silver.
She slides it across.
Thank you. I appreciate the patronage. Anything else you'd like to look at? Always happy to help.
Do you know much of any other bead suppliers in the area? Or
Well, I
anyone?
can give you directions to my various friends. Most of them work more commission, making various jewelry, making various decorative things. But some of them have bits up front that they sell extra. Kane, go ahead and make a sleight of hand or stealth, whichever you're trying to go for. I'm going to go ahead and roll. He's distracted, so I'll do 2d20 disadvantage. He doesn't notice.
Also, will ask as well, just if there's anyone who has like, not like fully enchanted things, but just like weird magic-y kind of things, like those kind of like useless magic item kind of things.
He kind of scritches his the side of his beard. You could always try some various little pawn shops or the like. Occasionally, people will take little things that they've made, magic or otherwise. I mean, there's plenty of students at the college, of course.
Just wondering if you had any personal recommendations.
Let's see. I know not too far from here, there's a Thornton's. Thornton's Third Hand Thrifties. He describes the outside of a shop to you and directions to it.
Thornton's Third Hand Thrifties. I'll be sure to keep that one in mind.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you very much. Anything else? Anyone else?
Not from here, no. I may need to go into that magic-y area.
You about done what you're doing, Kane?
He's just looking over as many of the other ones as he can, just fascinated by them. Is there anything that reflects light?
Oh, plenty of things. Some things have a few sporadic glass beads. Some of them seem to have little pieces of cut and sanded glass so that the edges are smooth. A few of those pieces of glass seem to have just a little bit of mirroring painted onto the back. There's
Okay,
always
definitely grab
things
some of
like
those.
polished wood, not quite as reflective, but there's a gleam to it. Anything with a bit of metal in it, especially when that's polished.
Alright.
Okay, he'll definitely grab as many of those as he can in that case. Like, especially the, with like the reflective backing. Definitely some of those. He may not be a goblin, but he likes shiny.
Some of these are like the little charms and things like that.
Yeah, like the things
Okay.
that are like mirrored backing or reflective like that. He's definitely grabs one of those. Just to decorate
Alright.
with later.
Okay, sure. I'll say that you can go ahead and grab, let's see, a couple more pocket pieces and one that's larger and meant to be hung on something.
Yep. And he'll leave behind 2 gold as payment.
Okay. Yeah, he tells you, oh, that's definitely too much, sir. Honestly, the small pieces I sell for a silver, the larger one about 2 or 3. That one's probably more 3 because of the materials. So 5 silver in all. I can try and get you some change for one of the gold. He starts digging into a pouch at his side.
Kane says,
Puts-
consider it your good luck then.
Well, I suppose I can't really argue with that. Seriously, though, perhaps you'd like a little something yourself? And he looks at Calda.
Oh, no. And Calder will sort of like tap her wedding ring. I got enough luck right here.
The luckiest of them all.
Yeah.
Well then, I'd be happy to see you around again sometime in the future.
Hopefully we'll be back around. I do want to bring my husband up here just to talk of the trade.
Oh, of course.
How soon after this is the is this from the helping the kid with the cat?
It's probably only been a couple of minutes.
Okay. So on 10 minutes with the speak with animals would still be up.
Yeah, sure.
All right. Just out of curiosity, are there any just animals hanging around here? Any like crows eyeing this guy's stand or something?
Roll a d20 just for the luck of it.
All right. I was gonna say if there's ever a place for one.
Doesn't seem to be.
All right. I was expecting either absolutely nothing or dire crow.
Yep.
She just kind of shrugged and like, well, shall we off? We still have a stop at Morticia's to make.
I suppose, yeah.
She'll start making her way there. Keeping an eye out for that thrift shop place too, if they happen to come across it on their way.
All right. I'll say that it's not a direct line, perhaps, but you would pass by where you know the thrift shop would be, given the directions. If you turn off there and take a look, or if you go to Morticia's straight, that's up to you, or you can split up and do both at the same time.
I can personally go to Morticia's. I don't know about you lot. I know some of you aren't very keen on her location.
Dead bodies. I'm not entirely. I can come see her, but I also have to look for the glasses. I'm not sure if the thrift shop will have them, and I have to keep looking.
Well, if also you feel the want to sell that, I think there's a candelabra kicking somewhere in that bag somewhere.
Is there? Good God.
Yes, we have actually, no, we have a vase of flowers made of silver wire and silk.
Oh, I'd like to keep those. They're very pretty.
We have 12 of them, though.
I can sell a few of them, keep one each for sort of a memory thing, maybe?
What else do we have? Keeping the silver mask. Probably keep the mirror, because mirrors are useful. We have a chalice with the silver filigree.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at the Green River Collapse Shrine now. What is the small fold of paper with something that rattles lightly inside when shaken?
Ah, you never looked into that, apparently.
Oh.
Let me see. I had it written down details here because I was waiting for it to
That
be
sounds like a seed.
investigated. Mm-hmm. Let me see. Where did I put that? Ah, that's way up here in my sheet
Sorry.
of stuff, isn't it? Oh, it's fine. It's been a while. No, not that, not that. Let's see, let's see. Huh. Where the heck did I put it?
Also, for the sake of it, Ozana might just be wearing the wide gold bracelet etched with dragon shapes.
Mm-hmm. Right, that's odd. I'm not finding my notes on the Green River Shrine area in this, even though I keep them all in the same place.
Hmm.
Well, hell. Heck. Well, I know there were seeds. I don't remember what they were seeds of.
Alright, maybe for later.
Mm-hmm.
Alright. Alsana will stick it in her pocket regardless. Okay, so yeah, she'll go to Morticia's then. Others can go to the thrift shop if they so wish.
All right. Kane is going thrifting for sure. Okay.
Yeah, Calder would be joining him.
Oh, he's going thridding. Thridding.
Oh no. All right. So we'll go ahead and start with. Let's go ahead and start with Alsana. No, let's start with the thrifting. You guys would get there before Alsana would get to Morticia's, just in case any catching up happens. So, Calda, Kane, you turn down a side street. Go up a ways. You follow the directions that you were given by Lou, and you come across, as was said, Thornton's Third Hand Thrifties. Brightly colored sign, big window, and what looks like a cluttered, the sort of cluttered shop interior that you would imagine for something that crosses a pawn shop, an antique store, and a thrift or consignment shop.
Oh,
Okay,
this is
so-
funny, I love it.
Kane, Mr. Farm Boy, is loving this.
Yep. You open the door, you hear like 5 different bells go off at various pitches. It seems that whoever owns the shop had set up tied a small variety of them in a bit of a line from small to large. You walk inside, and it's a interesting combination of sights and smells as you catch whiffs of incense, candle smoke, a little bit of must, a little bit of dust. There's old things, there's new things, there's this scent of polish, there's the scent of perfume. It all mixes together in this confusing cacophony to the nose.
Kane just takes like a deep whiff, and it's just shop.
I wanted him to like breathe and just be like,
Well, that comes after. He's allergic to rust, apparently.
he's got a nose full of potpourri.
But he kind of like turns to Calder and he goes, "Okay, I need you to make me a promise.
Promise.
If I spend more than 10 platinum, that's not reasonable. Stop me."
Kane, we have all the money. This is very bad.
Oh god,
Don't tell
he's
me
an
that.
enabler.
I'm not in the neighborhood, I promise.
Kane turns and looks for the most audacious, like, historical weapon. Is this the shop that he found the shield in?
Nope, different shop,
Okay.
but a potentially similar couple of D100 lists here that I am pulling from.
Okay,
Is
okay.
there a bargain bin?
Possibly. So as you guys start to wander through, you hear a voice faintly from the back. Hello, welcome. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll be right up.
Cole's gonna like yell. Cole's gonna yell, "Hello, do you have that? What the fuck was that, Tyler?" Sorry, I lost you
Hello.
for a second.
It's okay.
Hello, halfling.
But I hate both of you, and I
Right, welcome to the fish shop.
hate
Hello.
both of you. Sorry,
Oh, this is why I usually don't mess with accents. I can never keep track of them.
This is why I do it. I just couldn't say hello because I don't think Calda's ever said it.
Oh
Wait. Hold on. Read your script. Check your lines, and take 2.
Line.
Your line is, oh, hello there.
I will kill you. Do you have some weird? Fuck, I can't get it.
Your
That's okay.
line is, top of the morning.
I'm going back to my own voice. Do you have night vision goggles? Something I need to see in the dark.
I don't know. Check the racks.
Okay, thank you.
Do you have any weird weapons or arms?
Maybe.
I love this shop. And Kane is just gonna go pawn shop diving.
Okay.
Yes,
I have got 2 different D100 lists.
Sweet.
Pick A or B, and then roll a D100 for what kind of nonsense you stumble across.
I'm gonna say B.
I'll do A.
Alright.
Fuck, where's the D100?
B61, A59. So let's go with the B61 first. Kane. Not quite a weapon or a or armor, but you do come across a little miniature figure of a lead soldier, it looks like. So, I mean, there's armor and he's holding a sword and a shield, but it's more of a little toy figurine. About palm size. A59. Calder, you happen to go through go by a shelf and something catches your eye, you reach over, you leaf through. There seems to be an entire stack bundled together of old faded copies of some kind of magazine called Beholder's Digest. What race is the figure? Question mark. It seems to be built along humanoid lines. Whether it's supposed to be human, half-elf, or elf is a little hard to tell. It's not extremely detailed. You can't tell if there are points on the ears. You can't tell if there are, like, tusks sticking out for an orc or half-orc. It's fairly generic. You can pretty much rule out anything that would have a tail, horns, or wings or other features like that, though.
Okay, so no extra ones.
I was gonna start looking through one of the magazines. I finally got the voice back.
Can Kane walk up over her shoulder as soon as she opens it?
Yep, sure. Oh god. I don't even know what to describe. Beholder's Digest seems to be a magazine that's got a little bit of the chicken soup for the soul going on, a little bit of here are reader submitted stories, inspirational tales, recipes, little bit of everything.
Too.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna look through and she's like, oh, I think I have these in my lavatory at home. Just put them back.
Can Kane, before she puts it back, pick it up and open the centerfold just to see what's there?
Sure. In the very center, there is a big 2-page splash advertisement for some kind of new face cream.
He kind of looks at it and puts it up next to his and goes, think it'll work on my complexion?
I don't know. You usually look a bit green.
Yeah, been working on that. I figure someday if I can get the blue, oh, perfect.
That's fair. I think you even out green with red, but I'm not sure what tone you're looking for. Anyway, goggles.
Ah, yes.
I was gonna start looking for any goggle type thing and just getting them all and just trying to try them all on.
Can Kane, without the ability to actually use the spell, attempt to detect magic?
You can follow your gut.
So do 100.
Breathe
Yeah,
in
do
a
it
nose
with
full of
100.
potpourri and hope you smell magic.
Detecting magic. Kane. Do you need me
Hold on,
to
hold on.
detect
I'm
magic?
focusing. I'm focusing.
Find the magic.
I'm at soup.
Find the magic.
What do you mean you're at soup?
Oh, what do I find?
A or B?
B.
All right, B. You come across a little wooden box. There is a key at the on the side of it. When you turn the key, it doesn't unlock anything. It just keeps twisting with a click, 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 click. There is a slot in the top of the box, and there is a tag kind of tied to the haft of the key where it sticks out of the box. If you read the tag, it says music box. Play any song of your choice, 1 gold piece.
He just like turns to Caldo and goes.
And then on the other side, you've got a price of 10 gold pieces. It is pretty ornately carved. A lot of the leafy, floral, filigree shapes, just absolutely covering the top and sides around that slot in the key.
We'll definitely put a gold in there.
All right, you just kind of plink, turn the key, and nothing immediately happens. What song would you like?
Pop goes.
I'm gonna say something that reminds him of home.
All right.
Marsh.
Okay, and after a couple more clicks, you hear a little tune start to play from the box. It's not the ordinary plink, plink, plinking of a normal mechanical one. It sounds like an actual mix of the drums and the flutes that you are used to from the Moormarsh, and it's a jaunty little piece that you heard on happy occasions, times when a couple of people in the village perhaps got married or were having some kind of celebration or a coming of age. It's a good time song.
Oh, nice.
He's definitely gonna buy it.
Okay.
That's one platinum cane.
Calda is keeping count. Calda, you're looking through various goggles, glasses, things of that sort. I honestly do not know if there's anything of any sort on these 2 lists. So go ahead and do a d20 for luck. See, 10.
I can also cast Detect Magic.
Yeah.
So I could just do that a little bit when I probably get too tired.
All right. You come across some pretty nicely made goggles of leather, glass, and metal, but they don't seem to have any magical properties to them. They'd be great for shielding your eyes in circumstances where dust might get into them, and they would probably cut down on sun glare, but you don't know that they'd be anything for darkness.
Okay, what's the price tag on her?
On those, they're pretty nice quality, but not magical, so that price tag is at about 2 gold.
Alright, Caldo will probably get him to buy them.
Anybody else want to rifle around at random?
I want to see.
I mean, by anybody else, you mean Kane.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Caldo's gonna probably wander around with game for 10 minutes or so, ritual casting Detect Magic.
Okay. There are bits and pieces all over the place that seem magical in some way or another. Not absolutely everything. But honestly, it's like take a random stab and you might find something. Go ahead and roll a d100 for one of the lists. If the number you land on is not a magical item, then I will go either up or down, your choice, until I come across the nearest one.
Alrighty, let's do list B.
Okay.
81.
B81. Let's see.
Bingo.
Technically, there's some magic. You find a throwing knife,
Oh,
but the magic in it is extremely faint and seems kind of wonky.
I was gonna call Kane over. Kane, you good? Kane, I found this very nice weapon. Okay.
It's a little throwing knife.
Weapon
Specifically-
weepo, Kane yells.
Sharp, let's see.
Kaden excitedly rushes over, examines it. It is sharp. It looks like it would be functional. You don't see anything about it that's like obviously outwardly magical. It's not like it's weird colors. It doesn't glow. It's not inset with anything fancy. It seems to be just an ordinary steel throwing knife with black wrapped hilt. You flip it into the air, and it and comes down hilt perfectly into your hand. He tosses it over his shoulder to catch. Okay. You toss it over the shoulder with one hand, reach around with the other, hilt perfectly into the hand.
Yeah, Calder's hands are out to try. Can
He says, "Called it. I love it." Here,
try and
here.
pass it to me. Try and just pass it, hilt to hilt. Come on.
You toss it, and it just whirls perfectly, hilt into her hand.
Oh, this is nice. Seems like it. Do you think we'd be able... Maybe we should buy it and then try and hit ourselves with it just to see if it'll actually do any damage. Either way, it's pretty cool.
Kane's pulling out more knives, apparently
Not in
from
the
his
shop.
bag.
Not in the shop. Not in the shop! Is there anything fragile around?
There's probably quite a bit of fragile things around.
Plenty of ceramics for this fucking bowl in this thrift china shop.
Yeah,
Kane, go ahead and do a sleight of hand.
no!
Well then,
Yep. You toss the three knives in the air. One of yours thunks down onto the floor between your feet. You try to catch the other one of yours, but you grab the blade and that hurts and you drop it. And in the confusion of dropping it, you miss grabbing onto the store knife and it thunks down onto the floor hilt first.
I wanted him to stick one in the ceiling.
Still on a tilt.
He'll pick up the knife and attempt to pierce the ground with a throw. You pick it up, you aim at the wooden floor between your feet, and you give it a little bit of a flick, and it hits hilt first.
Huh. That's really interesting. What's the price tag on it?
The price tag is, let's see. I'm gonna say it's about what a dagger would be. I think that might be a silver.
I'm pretty sure it's a silver.
Oh, a dagger in the book is 2 gold pieces, surprisingly. Let's say this one's 1 gold.
Alrighty. You can get this too, alright.
He's definitely buying it.
Are there like clothes here too? Like a thrift shop sort of thing, or are there just items?
There are probably clothes, but I don't know if there are very many clothes. Oh yeah, there are some clothes in some of these lists, so
What's the most emo clothing thing I can find? Like the most dark thing I can find?
oh gosh.
Oh jeez.
Um
I'm sorry, Olivia.
yeah, I'm actually not sure because these lists are all jumbled up.
That's very fair. Okay.
the best I could do is offer a roll and then offer to go up or down. And wait, I found one. You find a cloak about 4-foot length, so it might be a little bit short on a 5-foot humanoid, but very, very long on a halfling. It's at this awkward length. But it is pitch black and seems to be made of silk.
Ooh, what's the price tag on that?
Let's go ahead and say it's about 5 gold.
Yeah, I'll get that for Alsana.
Got her a short robe.
Hey, yeah. There's only one like one human that would actually fit well in that robe.
Mhm.
She's another campaign.
Yeah, ankle.
All right, you want to look for more weapons. I'll go ahead and do the kind of the same thing. A or B, D100. B, 39. All right. If it is not a magical weapon of any kind, I'll say up or down. Okay, it's not. So up or down, as I count. Downwards. Okay. So let's see. What's the nearest thing that is or might be a weapon?
Enchanted brick.
Well, depending on how you define weapon, there is a large, heavy cast iron frying pan with runes on the handle.
Yes.
Let's see. I don't know if he's responded to that. Absolutely going to tangle this up. A tag on the frying pan says, let's see. Basically, it makes this promise that it's a frying pan of perfect cooking. It promises that this pan will never overcook or burn food placed in it. Done. Due to the magic, it is a little bit more. It's going to be another 10 gold pieces, kind of like the music box. Oh dear God.
Ken, you're taking this off of your sheet, right? Also, we have like almost 20,000 gold itself.
Yeah, this isn't going to make a dent. I can do this all day. He's got cash.
We need something to put all that gold into at some point.
Yeah. Well, we have the bag of having, which is money.
Oh God.
Cole's gonna just start looking randomly again.
All right, A or B, D100.
Ooh, let's do A this time. D100. 77.
All right. 77. Ooh, pretty little thing. You come across a marble. It might be a little bit larger than like the standard small size marble. And it's made of a dark glass and seems to have a little swirling galaxy in the center.
Oh, yes, I'm buying that.
It's more a trinket than anything, but go ahead and call it another 2 gold pieces.
Alrighty.
Okay. I'll say that you guys are pretty much going back and forth from the counter to the shelves and making little piles. But feel free to mark off the gold as you go along. Alright. Kane is about done. Calda, anything else?
I think I'm good.
Okay. With that, you guys tally up your purchases. Thornton, a very tall, broad dragonborn with darker scales, tallies them up, accepts your gold, and thanks you for dropping by and says to come back anytime. So, In the meantime,
Mm-hmm.
Alsana,
Yep.
you have gone down the somewhat growing slowly more familiar streets towards Morticia's. You head inside, and she glances up from a small desk in the side where she's got a bit of paperwork spread out. And you see a look of surprise and then a smile on her face, and she puts down the quill. Alsana!
Oh, good to see you, dear.
What a pleasant surprise. What have you brought me this time?
Huh. Of a side note, she would have like grabbed the relative stuff from the bag of holding beforehand. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, it's likely fair to say as long as the relative stuff is stuff that you would be able to carry and everybody agrees you took with you.
Yeah. So like the saber-tooth pelts and the teeth and the periton antlers, that kind of stuff.
Right.
And
Is there anything in that that the others wanted to keep?
Nope.
So you got the saber-tooth pelts, teeth, the periton antlers, and wasn't it the fur rugs?
yes, those two, yeah. For rugs and the saber-tooth tiger pelts.
Okay.
So she might be hauling a bit of it, but she'll like set them aside. It's like, well, I've got a few things.
Doesn't look like your usual gory mess.
Unfortunately not. Haven't had a large swath of things for that. I do have some in my personal bag, though.
Well, let's have them spread out then.
And she will first roll out the pelts. These were procured from a cloud giant's castle. I'm not sure of the animals that they were before they were turned into rugs, and she kind of like puts them out.
Really? A cloud giant's castle. You know,
I-
some days I don't know if you are trying to pull my leg just to get a rise or if you're being fully honest.
I guess guessing is half the fun, no?
And if Kane were there, you hear a little Kane voice in the back of your head going, this is what he would say.
Followed by...
I pierced your consciousness, you'll never be free again.
Lightning you son of a bitch. It's okay to say that her father is a bitch. Yep. She goes, no, but I can say that, in this particular instance, we did come across such a thing. It was, a bit of an undertaking. And it's... I mean, if you personally wanted to go take it out, take a look at it, there is a, it is, kind of located up a large beanstalk in a small village just near, Poke.
Really? Well, I might have to take you up on that someday.
I think some corpses might be still sitting there, although they might be a bit, There are giant goats, though. Or sheep. I forget which.
Oh, quite interesting. I'm not really one for the textiles, but I imagine there could be some who would be interested.
I mean, you know,
That's for-
giant internal organs, sheep intestines are useful.
Oh, that's true. Imagine the haggis that could be made.
Probably for giants. Anyways, and she kind of like puts them out. Now I know you said you weren't, much in the way of funds the last time I stopped by, because I happen to be selling quite a few things.
It has been quite some time, though.
So are you in the market to buy?
Possibly. Let's see. Teeth and antlers. Surprising uses for these, depending on where you're looking. The pelts, perhaps you'd perhaps slightly better off in the hands of some people who can work with them. That being said, I do have my connections.
Oh,
The prepared furs, on the other hand, likely be better finding a buyer of finished goods rather than raw materials.
all right. Well, I imagine you are in contact with either if you could happen to point me in the proper direction. She gives
Not
like
quite.
a little bit of a smile.
Flatterer. I'm more in the market of the raw materials rather than the finished and prepared.
But wouldn't they be buying from you?
Not exactly. There's usually a couple of steps in the process. You see, there's the ultimate source of the furs, and she brushes a finger across the saber-toothed tiger pelt, which then goes to one who can clean, prepare, and seal these furs in order to create something like these, and she gestures at the pile of furs taken from the castle itself. And then that individual will very frequently sell to, well, the market who would use it.
She can,
Occasionally, you might have somebody who both procures the pelts and prepares them, but that is not my area of expertise, so I don't have those connections.
All right. Fair enough. Okay, well, here's one you might be a bit more interested in then. And she rolls out the displacer piece pelt.
Oh.
Fresh from the Feywild.
First a giant's castle, and now the Feywild. You do get it many places.
As of late, at least.
Now tell me, is this actually what I think it is?
From my understanding, a displacer piece, perhaps. I was wondering if you more had recommendations on it. I've heard tale of things being made of this here.
Most certainly. My recommendations would be probably the crystalline spires. There are wizards, there are sorcerers, there are enchanters, and those are the ones you would wish to speak with. From my understanding of the process, the displacer beast pelt does most of the heavy lifting, but it does take a little preparation in order to make a proper cloak of it, if that is what you have in mind.
I was thinking it.
Then you'll want somebody versed in the magic, and also somebody versed in turning such pelts normally into attire.
Alright, I'll be sure on the lookout for that as well. And we do have another, few, bits and pieces, let's say. And I don't know if you're exactly in as much for this, but interesting to share with nonetheless. For example, she kind of like sets out some of the vial of the giant mimic goo that she had collected.
All right. The giant mimic goo. Which one did that come from? Just
The
to be
house.
sure. The house. Yep. All right. She looks at it. She picks it up, turns it around. All right. What insane story does this come with? One of the elemental planes? Perhaps the hells?
She kind of like tilts her head. I mean, keep going down the list. You'll get it eventually.
There's too many to guess. Tell me.
Ethereal plane.
Really? It seems fairly solid. Are you sure?
Here's the thing, and she gives like a brief recap of giant mimic house keeping souls by virtue of ethereal plane influence.
Oh. At this point, I almost feel like I should have you roll a persuasion check just to see how convincing this all actually is.
She's saying it with like a smile on her face too the whole time, but let's see. 17.
Yeah, she seems pretty persuaded. Oh, a little incredulous, but she believes you all the same, despite that. She'd ask if you have any plans for this material.
That I'm not so sure on. I just kind of took it because, I mean, what chance do you get to keep a little keepsake of a creature like that?
Indeed. Well, if you are looking to sell, I would be interested. That is something thoroughly unique. That being said, I'm not quite sure what I would do with it.
Potentially to some alchemists. I mean, I was considering it myself.
A little experimentation.
I believe she has. How much does she have of that? Where to go? I just saw it on my sheet and now my eyes can't see it. There we go. Oh, it's 3/4 of a vial. She has less than I thought.
Okay. So you've bought a partial vial of the goo. Whether you sell it or keep it for yourself is up to you.
She'll basically ask, like, unless you have any, if you have any explicit things for it, but if you're not sure exactly where you sell it to, I might keep it for myself. I don't know.
Okay.
One more, just for fun. And she will pull out the, because I'm pretty sure she, yep. So she'll take out the jar of frost giant nails.
Oh god. All right. Remind me how many nails were in there again?
I believe there's 18.
Okay.
Because I think she only used a few of them for the broth.
She looks at that, she looks at you. Tell me, was this Cloud Giant castle inhabited?
She kind of like rolls her head back and forth. There may have been, there may have been one in there, and there may have been a frost giant at the base, which is where these come from. There may have been some hill giants working under them as well.
Are all of these mixed together in the jar, or is this one type?
No, this is purely frost.
Interesting.
I have 2 from the hill kicking around as well, if you're interested.
Oh, I can definitely get these to various alchemists who would have an interest. I'll take as many as you are willing to sell.
How about 10?
All right. Would about 10 gold apiece be fair?
I feel like that would be very fair. Trade them over for monetary?
Yep. Trade them over. You take 100 gold and take out 10 frost giant nails from your jar. Now, I'd be willing to purchase the pelts, teeth, and antlers, though they're at less of a premium, of course, given the greater difficulty in getting magic out of them.
Right.
They're more pieces of interest.
I mean, the antlers could be mounted well enough.
Oh, very well. They're nicely intact in 3 full pairs, it looks like. Whoever removed these did an excellent job.
Was that Alsana or was that Kane?
I believe it
Or was
might
that
have been.
Alaris?
I vaguely want to say it was Kane. I think he was the one who was excited about getting the antlers. The Periton antlers from the Giant's Castle. Yeah, that was Kane.
Yep. Alright. And she goes, I mean, it's okay. Goes across. So what were you thinking for the lot of that?
Let me see. 3 pairs, 4 intact teeth, which would seem to be 2 sets of 2 each, and 2 intact pelts. As I go ahead and do a little bit of math and guesstimation. Because these are actually pretty difficult monsters, so they're sizable, and they're in good quality. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, She'd probably offer a good 50 gold.
That sounds
So-
fair. Alright, mark those off. And 50 gold.
Now, as for the Displacer Beast pelt, if I bought it from you raw, I could offer a total of if I remind myself of something. Sorry, 1 second. 1 second. Where is it? For the pelt, I could offer about 500 gold given the rarity of the material. I'd only be able to purchase the one. But if you wanted to keep it for yourself, I would recommend getting it made into a cloak and getting the proper enchantment to finish it off.
Would you have perhaps know an estimate on how much that would cost?
It depends on the individuals and the workmanship involved. I've known some that, well, I know that the finished product is usually quite expensive, though that's partially due to the rarity of the materials that go into it, this being the most notable of them. It could cost the same, it could cost more.
And you wouldn't happen to know someone in particular who would be a good starting point for getting this procedure done, would you?
I'm afraid not. It's not normally my realm of interest or expertise.
Right. Alright. Well, I think I'll keep it for the time being. Though, should I find myself difficulty getting it, or perhaps simply not needing it, I'm sure a sell to you would be certainly in the cards. Perhaps another day, though.
I'll keep a little gold aside, just in case. So, have you time for a cup of tea?
I think I very much do. And she kind of like walks over and maybe like goes by the assembled guard drake skeleton.
Mhm.
Just kind of like pats it on the head.
Morticia will lead you into one of the back rooms, which is a little kitchenette, and she will start brewing up a kettle. And you have a nice cup of tea and a good talk over how business has been, your various adventures, and anything else you would like to bring up.
Could she, if she's like having any, if she's struggling with anything at all, or like looking for like some extra helper work or whatever, just like short term with somebody who's fan of the knife juggling, yes. If she has any like small things, she like with her work that she's kind of that Osana could potentially help with in that short bit of time.
Not at the moment. Mostly it's been catching up on paperwork, but things sometimes do drop in unexpectedly.
Any corpses that need talking to? You never know.
Again, not at the moment, but, well, I never see them coming. Will you be in town for very long?
I think I might be for a bit. We have some time on our hands for the next little while.
Well, if you don't already have a place to stay, I'm willing to offer up some space.
I'd be very, very grateful. I'll have to double check with the group though beforehand, just to make sure there's no conflicting schedules and stuff like that. You know.
Of course.
Alright. And also just I'll just give a quick And at a point, just lesser restoration, Morticia. She works with dead bodies. She's worried she might have a disease or something.
All right.
I know you're sanitary, but preventative is good.
Of course, it is appreciated.
Does anything catch on it, or does it just kind of go and she doesn't know if anything was there or not?
It doesn't say it that, I'll say it just kind of washes through her and you're satisfied that if there was anything, there isn't now.
All right. She had like the first like hour of a flu and it's gone now. Whatever.
Potentially.
Yep. So, all right. That'll be mostly her business there. Does the group come to Morticia's after they're done with the thrift shop, or?
It's up to them.
I'm not sure.
Because
You
Alsana
guys
would be
know-
there for a bit.
Yeah, you guys know where Alsana went.
Did we
Alaris
ever
does have-
find-
Alaris
Sorry, did we
does
ever
have
find
the other...
goggles?
Hmm?
Did we ever find any goggles for?
There were not any goggles of dark vision specifically. However, if you'd like to go ahead and search the town in general, go shop to shop for the rest of the day or anything, then
Kane will bring it up to her, just see if she wants to.
Yeah, probably be better to, there's that magic-y area.
Yeah, give it a shot, and if I do come across dear old dad, well, I've got a fancy new shield with his name on it.
And I have a very nice sword.
That would be a very fun way to keep me from finding any more half-siblings of mine.
That's fair. Alright, let's buck up and go.
Alright. And he will once more try to concentrate as closely as he can on detecting magic goggles.
oh, you peer at every pair of goggles you come across. Go ahead and each of you make either a perception or an investigation check. Or if you want to go more the charisma route, asking people, try something like a persuasion. Ooh. A 25. Kane, you are peering real hard. You come across actually a small section of a shop of sundry items, magical wise, that seem to be like accessories. Belts, hats, hoods, gloves, boots, some glasses and goggles and things like that. And you peer real hard at a pair that kind of have an owlish look to them. Promising. The little tag on them has fancy golden script, and it says Goggles of Night.
He will lift them in the air and go, Eureka! I'm a genius, and I can detect magic!
Oh, we like come over. What are you doing?
I'll put them on her head. Do they work?
It's currently light in here, so it's hard to say.
But of things that are in shadow, do they work?
I don't.
I'll say that, yeah, they do seem to kind of wash out the shadows somewhat.
Okay.
Did I do it?
Detect magic.
It's just like hands up in victory.
How much is it?
Those have a nice little price tag of 250 gold.
I have that much in platinum. We're fine.
Oh, don't worry about it, I already paid for it.
Okay, what?
I already paid for it.
Hilda hits his leg and then gives him a hug.
Yep. As he does, he will delicately reach into his pocket or his bag and pull out 250 gold to put on the counter.
All right. With them paid for, the goggles are not attunement; they are regular. You've got dark vision out to a range of 60 feet while wearing them.
Finally.
Well done on that perception check.
I'm so happy.
All right. as for like investigating for a bard of a certain name, are you guys like actively asking around, or are you just keeping an eye open?
Keeping an eye out. I don't know what he looks like, but I'm keeping an eye out.
Kane isn't actively looking for him, but just if he happens to come across him. Oh, what a unpleasant surprise.
I'm looking for someone who smells like whore.
We're in a town of bards. You're gonna be overwhelmed.
I'm looking for someone who smells like bad whore.
Okay, that narrows it down a bit.
Oh.
So
Can I put that in quotes?
I'm looking for someone who smells like Axe body spray.
Basically.
Roll a couple of perception checks.
Can I actually?
Oh, we broke Ariel's accent too, cool.
You've broken me completely.
Fuck.
Calda,
Can I
you
give
are
help to them?
sniffing
Can I give
sniffing
help?
all over the place. Calda is relying on her sense of smell right now.
Can I send Tori to find someone who smells like Axe body spray? I'm so sorry.
You don't
No,
come
that's
across
perfectly
any. You don't come across any axe, which is almost impressive for given the pungency.
Fair.
There might be other street smells covering it up. You can do a perception if you want, Kane.
Sure. Just typing into the quotes chat.
Okay.
Do you want me to roll it? I have your sheet open.
Oh, I got it.
Okay.
Oh, that was such a wonderful quote.
Perception 13. All right. Yeah, no, you don't come across anybody familiar.
Do I come across anyone interesting, however?
You know what? Possibly. Yeah, sure. You come across what looks like a small assortment. There's almost seems to be a setup for a miniature band in a very small plaza between some buildings. And you see a man in a sharp suit, kind of holding up a baton, almost looks like a wand, and he's tapping out a rhythm while a halfling sits nearby, kind of tapping his leg to keep the time. And the band isn't great. They're tripping and stumbling over each other, but they're picking up, and occasionally the man cuts them off with a wave and seems to be giving some instruction. You've come across a lesson of little fledgling bards out in the wild for the first time.
Oh, we found a wild gaggle of baby bards.
Oh, Kane, they're doing so well.
Oh, look at it, they're actually organized and not just playing all for their own gain.
Oh, they know how to read sheet music.
By the way, I'd like you guys to know, me and Ty have basically had this conversation in real life when it comes to the younger actors. Just saying.
Yep. Of note, none of them seem to have sheet music.
Oh, they're learning improvisation. I'm so
Oh,
proud
it's
of
even
them.
more difficult.
Yep.
Oh,
And
yeah.
the
Kim just
instructor.
kind of like gives a one-arm hug to Paul, but like hugs her tight.
Yep. You hear the instructor saying, "No. Think it through. Feel the music. Think it up here. It comes out here, like whistling.
I just got PTSD flashbacks.
Use the think system." But the lesson continues. And you can choose to stay and watch and see how they do. Honestly, they don't seem to improve very much. But eventually they're kind of mostly in time with each other. Maybe not fully in tune.
Called Wolwad. It's like, oh, B flat concert.
Alright, so Kane and Calda, you get a little bit of a free show. The halfling sitting nearby notices you watching and kind of gives you a friendly wave. He gets up and meanders on over. Hello, I see you got a little bit of an interest in our fine class.
Hey there, this is your class. Are you the teacher, or is that the instructor? Are you the principal?
Oh no, I'm the assistant. My name is Marcellus. That's the professor. That's Professor Hill.
Oh, nice to meet you, Marcellus.
Yeah, likewise.
Seems like a good group of, fletchlings. They're really going well. Oh, my name's Colda. Nice to meet you.
Calda. Pleasure. And you are? Kane. Oh, it's good to meet you both. So, either of you interested in picking up a little bit of the bardic arts?
Oof, not entirely. I may be.
More jazz. Oh, can't say I've ever heard of that one.
No, Connor, that's a trombone. Bones are in bodies. Cold's probably just me like, oh, I'm more of the vocal, the local sea shanty at the bar. I'm more from places with more water.
Oh, swamps, sea shanties. Yeah, not really our specialization, but we get all sorts.
That's fair. I've seen some bards come in playing their instruments. It's always very impressive. I'm not sure how they do it with even looking or thinking and playing it all at the same time.
Apparently with enough practice, you get to the point of it. It's the whole idea behind the think system my buddy devised.
What is this think system?
You don't really, read the music, you feel the music. I'm not much of a bard myself, but...
So is the think system that you're not allowed to think?
No.
No, the idea is that you just kind of know what you're doing, so you do it.
I don't do music. I want to die.
I thought you stopped working and I'm a jazz musician.
I am currently unable to play music, but I used to play a lot of it. I'm the perfect in between of these two. And I still hate it.
Think system.
I think the message here is that this sucks on ice all around.
Yes. However, Kane's gonna come turn and go, although you mentioned if we're interested, I can play a little bit, although I'm rather shy about it.
Really, let's have a listen, if you don't mind.
Alright, but just, I don't like being looked at while I do, so Randy's gonna kind of turn around and pull his cloak up over his head and then slowly pull out the music box from his pocket. And he's gonna put a coin into it.
Okay.
And he's just gonna wave her side to side like he imagines a bard does.
Deception performance, I don't know.
Multiple instruments.
Oh.
You haven't heard that fucking...
First off,
Hurdy-gurdy?
what kind of song are you going for?
The only thought in his head for the song he's going for is the most audacious jazz he can think of.
It plays the most audacious post-swamp jazz
Yes!
ever.
Blech.
And you hear from behind you, interesting. How are you playing 12 instruments at once?
He just peeks his head over his shoulder and just goes, that's why I'm kind of shy. I secretly have 10 more tiny hands beneath my cloak. Each of them is playing an instrument.
You got 10 more tiny mouths? I think I hear at least a couple of saxophones.
Oh no, I only have 6 of those.
Takes them a while to get the reeds wet.
Go ahead and roll deception now.
What?
Yes! Both of us?
You roll at a... Calder, are you proficient in
No.
deception? Okay, no, just Kane.
Yeah! I would like to know, except for one roll, I have rolled only 20s and 1s this session.
Great.
Marcella's kind of looks
blink.
dubious, but gives you a nod. Very impressive.
He kind of
Love
just
to know
smiles
your
and-
secrets.
He
But
just smiles and turns around holding the box.
Kane, you were talking while the music was playing, you realize that, right?
Oh, is that not a thing that... Is that not a thing?
It's
How people sing that?
It's a saxophone you're using your mouth, because you sing using your voice, but you play the other instruments sometimes using your mouth too.
I was playing this one without my mouth.
But never mind.
He's just smiling at her and like gives her a bit of a hug.
Oh, you darling.
Ah, well, it was a good laugh. Say, looks like Harold's packing the kids up. And you look over, and the band is indeed starting to dismantle.
For a half a second, I thought you were gonna say he's putting them all into one big guitar case.
Yep, he's got a guitar case of holding and picking up each student, adult, teen, otherwise, and just kind of dropping them in. No.
Oh, better make sure he gets them out in like a minute or they're fucking dead meat.
So I probably got to get back to the Spire soon. But hey, if you ever want to actually learn an instrument and not a box, no, there are some that are shaped like boxes, so could be up your alley. Go ahead and give us a look up.
Oh, this man is so sweet, even though I was such a prick.
Thank you for the offer. It's really appreciated. Maybe in a few months, 6 months maybe, I'll be back to visit with some family.
Oh, sure. Good to know. By that time, you might hear their graduation.
Oh, they're almost graduated!
Well,
Oh,
you know, each level is a graduation of sorts. The big one, the end one, is the only one that really counts. But they put on a little show with each form, so you can hear this group as they do their commencement into the next level.
So what level are they comparably?
At first,
Okay.
yeah, they've only just started trying to pick up the system, and this was the first test out with distractions outside of the classroom.
They are doing very well. It didn't. Maybe one of their heads veered off a little bit, but the rest of them stayed to their instruments.
In time, they'll polish up.
Exactly.
Well, I'll see you guys sometime.
At a point. Nice meeting you.
Yeah, same here. And with that, he peels off, goes over to assist in packing things up, and they take off down the streets.
That was great.
I am very pleased with how this went.
Oh, does anybody else want to do anything else?
Does the
In
group come to
time.
Morticia's at any point?
I think when we
Eventually.
yeah, because you really have no way of finding us, so probably just to be like.
Yeah, that's why I'm at, because also just gonna stay there, assuming you guys are probably gonna come there at some point.
Of note, you do have the sending stones, and Alaris is, I'll say, with Kane and Calder, though
right.
he's been in the background and quiet.
Good point.
Oh, that's right.
We can always just go back there because, besides the sending stones and also not really picked up conversation in Morticia, we can probably just go back there.
I almost want to do like a jester style of sending.
There's only one sending per day. We can't have multiple. Hello.
Hi,
This is
so-
Calda.
Yeah, either one of you could borrow the stone from Alaris and send Alsana a message if you'd like.
Hey, it's just right there. 5 words right off the bat.
Elongate the so it counts as one word. Yeah, Calda sent a message, sending, hi, we're around some students. Are you at Morticia's? What are we all doing tonight?
Yes, I'm there. Come over and we can talk schedules.
Alrighty.
Outside if you're uncomfortable.
Calda can't answer that one.
Yep.
One sending, let's go.
All right. You head back over to Morticia's, where you know Alsana is waiting. And I struggle to get different music working, but it's not for some reason. There we go. No, wait, it stopped. Okay. It's being odd. I think that this music is not buffering. Which is strange. Right then. We'll go with the awkward one. Okay, so you guys meet up at perhaps outside Morticius.
Well, that's okay going in, but yeah.
Okay.
Alsana will probably be like near the front door at the very least.
Mhm.
And just
Alright.
lean out and go, "Oh, there you are. So what do the lot of you intend to be doing for the rest of the month?"
Probably going back to the Druid camp, spend some more time with Rose. I just wrote a letter to send to Corin, so
Right. You got that all properly sorted, or are you holding back yet?
I wrote everything I needed to and all the truth and all the information needed, but just need the messenger thing to send it.
Would you like me to do that right now?
Be appreciated.
Can Alsana go find a pigeon?
I'll say in this case it won't be too difficult. You have time; you'll be able to find one eventually. So you get a pigeon going, and you get the charm put on it, and it flies off with Calda's letter in its claws.
She gives it a seed too, just as a thank you.
Okay.
A little from pigeon. There you go. But yep, that's on its way. And it's like, right, but so do you intend on leaving soon, or?
If in the next couple days, maybe I found my throat is dying. 1 second.
It's okay.
Maybe in the next couple days, I found these interesting goggles that can help me see in the night, which help a lot.
Oh, really?
Yeah, didn't costed a good amount, but you know, just to still travel, spend some time with Rose.
Right. I'll probably be heading back at some point, at least for maybe a few days. I do want to. I have some catching up to do with a few still.
That's fair.
She
Okay,
looks
Joel.
over in magic sense, really.
Magic sense. He saw him.
With his eyeballs.
Yeah.
And he, in his almighty wisdom, assumed, oh, the weird-looking goggles in the probably magic store you were in at the time, with the owl design on them, might have some magic to them.
In a magic store, but they were called what, the goggles of the night or something like that. So you can assume they're not.
Oh, so you read the label too. Clearly you are an arcane master.
Okay, calm it. Kane, would you like to go camping with me as we head back into all the green water? Wood.
I think the two of you going without me wouldn't be too unreasonable.
I don't know if... Were you able to defend yourself on the way back? You have your broom. Would you like us to wait for you?
I made my way to Long Lake previously.
Okay.
On my own.
I'm aware.
You've no need for worry of my own personal safety when I'm 30 feet off the ground most times.
I'm aware. Alright, yeah, we can do some more fishing. That'd be actually very appreciated, Kane. I miss the fishing.
Alright then. Morticia, I might be staying a bit then.
Good to know. You're always welcome.
Thank you.
Alrighty, well, we'll see you for the shrine, won't we?
Yep. Make sure to be there on time.
Oh, I'll make sure, and I'll make sure all these men are too, and Calder, like, hit this, like, hips of Kane and Alaris at the same time.
Alright.
Stay safe.
You as well. Kind of like pat on the head.
No. You have knees, you can bend down.
She has this confused look for a second. Goes down and hug.
Thank you. I'll hug back.
And then stands up. Pat.
Alright.
All right. So you said you needed help with a rigor mortis jaw, Morticia? Wait, hold on. What now?
That would be appreciated. And I'll head back into the back room of the shop and
Fuck you will not. She's backing up.
No worries, King. You'll get her at a point.
approach like she's a scared cat
Uh-oh.
with the pss, 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 pss. Alsana, how do you take that?
she holds out like a finger gun with a bit of sacred flame at the end of it. Back up.
Fail.
Up. I'm accurate.
Hey, come on now. And Calder starts dragging Kane. Behave between both of you. I trust both of you when you're not in the same room.
And Kane is dragged out of the room in the building.
Bye, Alaris. I know you won't return it, but
Tag. Alaris goes goodbye.
say hi to Aurora for me.
I will.
Nope.
It's Drake. Don't worry.
You're fine.
Drag.
Drugged.
Drag.
All right. With that, the party separates for the week and a bit that you have before the full moon, the shrine. Kane and Calda to follow the river down, get some fishing, go back to the druid camp, spend some time with Rose and with some of the others.
Schrodinger's Alaris for when John tells us what he wanted to do.
Yep. And Alsana, you can spend some pretty nice quality time with Morticia, helping out with her business, going about the city, and if in between now and next session you want to coordinate with me anything you want done with that pelt for a potential cloak, let me know.
Yes, I was going to ask that,
Yep.
exactly.
Yep, we will save it for then.
And sorry, what day is it like that we were just on?
You guys were on the 19th because it would have taken a couple days to go from Long Lake to Windsor.
Okay.
So the night.
Yep, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
She'll probably, if she can, head out. Because Windsor to the camp is what, just about a day?
2 to 3 days.
2 to 3,
depending.
yeah. All right.
Say 3 to be safe.
Okay.
So if you head out on the summer solstice, you'll definitely be there in time. So that gives you a full week and a day.
Okay. She'll probably head out like in 6 days.
Okay.
Because she wants to spend a day or two in the camp with Dara.
Okay.
Can't remember her exact name.
Do you mean the leader of the camp, which is Dara, or do you mean the alchemist, which is Dalba?
Dalba is what I was thinking.
Sorry about those names, but they
No
come
problem.
out that way.
Yep.
All right, that can be done.
Yep.
So,
Might message you about some alchemy stuff later too.
okay. So we'll go ahead and likely leave the session off here, and we'll pick up next time with a quick recap of things and the shrine, and then the beginning of the next leg of your journey.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's the physical one, right? So it'd be.
Yep. Well, until then.
Yep. Goodbye.